I'm Judy Edwards, and welcome to the cabin donated by the Teague family. This cabin originally belonged, or a Confederate veteran did live here after the Civil War. It's dated approximately 1840. In a cabin this size, a typical family of about 5 to 7 would have lived here. The loft upstairs should have had a floor in it, and the kids would sleep upstairs, boys on one side and girls on the other. And in this cabin, the original staircase is over where the bed is. The bed is what they call a rope bed. And mattresses as we know it didn't become available until after the Civil War. So prior to that, they used the ropes as spring. And if you've ever slept on a rope bed, after a couple of nights, the ropes will start to sag. So you constantly have to tighten it. And they believe that's the origin of the word sleep tight. In the 1900s, tight also meant soundly. So when you said sleep tight, you were wishing your guest a good night's sleep, but also the fact that their mattress wouldn't sag. It's kind of like an early sleep number bed. If you wanted it firm, you'd really tighten those ropes. A little saggy, it's a little less. The loom is also of this period, the 1840s, but probably would not have been in the cabin. It would have been in an outbuilding. In the mountains of North Carolina, the looms are on the front porch. And when they set them up in the spring, the cabins are made so that the loom actually has wood that goes into the cabin to make for stability. And they leave it up all spring, summer, and fall, and then take it down for the winter. All the cooking would have been done on the stove in the hearth behind me, 3 meals a day, until the family could afford to build a separate kitchen from the cabin. And they would do that for 2 reasons. One, because kitchen fires were not uncommon, and that way if the kitchen burned, only the kitchen would burn and not the cabin. And 2, because of the heat. I can't imagine being in this unair-conditioned cabin in July with that fire going for all day long. It probably never cooled off in here. So a separate kitchen was a necessity for life more than just a luxury. That's about all I can tell you.
Okay, well that's fantastic. I know you'd mentioned that yesterday. I think the family came in that had descendants.
Right. It was the I believe it was the great-grandson of the sister of the Confederate soldier stopped by and gave me a lot of the history, where the staircase was. He said at one point, if you notice in that beam, there's a lot of holes in the bottom. At one point, there used to be a wall there. This was 2 rooms instead of 1. And he remembers the cabin. Eventually, over the years, they added on to the cabin, and actually they built a 2-story house around it. And the cabin was in the center, and the 2-story house was on the outside. And he said, there's a door up here. I always wondered about it because there's no staircase to get out, what the purpose was. And he said once the addition was made, that was your access into the 2nd story of the other addition to the house. He's promised to come back today and tell me some more, so.